Hello, FLOSSTUBE friends. I'm Nancy Joy Trower. I'm the Stitcher with the Laughing Face, and this is FLOSSTUBE number 37. Thanks so much for stopping by to see what I've been up to for the past month. I wanted to film again after the end of my spring break, but I had a very hard, fast deadline to finish a big two big projects for, so everything else just kind of went by the wayside. But I'm so happy that you're here with me today. It's Mother's Day, so hopefully you're celebrating in a way that is fun for you. We are not doing much because we don't have any of the kids. My two don't live here, and Phil's kids are obviously with their mom, as they should be. So it's just us, but that's okay. I think we're going to go to a botanical garden this afternoon, and then we're going out to dinner this evening. So I don't have to cook. So it'll be just kind of a quiet Mother's Day, but that's okay. But I hope you're getting to spend it with friends, family, pampering yourself, whatever it is that makes today a good day for you. So, sorry, it's always the curly hair thing, right? Should have done it before. I did get a cut. It's much shorter. So, I told her to take off 2 inches. I think she took off more than 2, but then when you cut curly hair, it's like, oh, I'm not as heavy as I was. And it's like, and it curls even tighter. So it's always a curly girl thing. But anyway, thank you so much for being a subscriber, for liking and commenting. And last video, I was talking about how I was having problems with the tension on my sewing machine, and quite a few of you messaged me or emailed me with some suggestions, and I really, truly appreciate that. I think I'm still just going to have to play with things. It was much better this time as I'm using a different thread for some reason, and I did take one of the other Nancy's advice about the heavier thread, and that did work pretty well. But it's still just very touchy. So I don't know. But I do have some big projects to show you in just a little bit. So I hope you have, a beverage of some sort and you're stitching, and we're just going to sit and chat like old friends. A special welcome to anybody who's new, and a huge thank you to all of you who do come back every time. It really means so much to me. So it has been a while. I did my first one. My last one was the very beginning of my spring break. As I said, I meant to do one at the end of spring break to like show you everything I got accomplished. And, but I had 2 quilts to finish before Max's graduation, this past Wednesday. And of course, everything always takes longer than you expect, so I really just had to focus on getting those quilts done. But spring break was great. We did a lot of disc golfing. We did a lot of just hanging out. We only had Brooke and Vince for one of the 2 weeks that I was off. So we did do some disc golfing with them. We had Easter Sunday, which was a beautiful day here. We actually had an Easter egg hunt at church. We sold our old building and moved to a new one a couple of years ago, and this one has a lawn. So I was super excited because the other one didn't have a lawn. It was more in the city, and we just had this giant parking lot, and so we couldn't do anything fun like that. So that was a good day. It was a beautiful day to be just a beautiful sunny day, and just lovely to spend time. We do play a video game with Phil's oldest son and his wife. We do that when we have Brooke and Vince, which I think we did it over spring break, but we didn't do it last time we had them because I was trying to stitch. I was trying to sew. And Brooke finished up her first year at her school. Everything went really well. She was really slammed at the end there too, though. So she was constantly drawing and submitting. She's an animation major, so lots of drawing, as you can imagine. But yeah, spring break was just lovely and relaxing. I always feel, sorry, itchy nose. Isn't that a FLOSSTUBE thing too? I always feel like spring break is like the preview for summer. You can get up and just kind of leisurely have your coffee, play your silly iPad games. I have several. Read a book, do whatever, and just kind of relax through your day. So that was nice to do. I had 1 week back at school, which the cool thing was that I had a big order come in. So I had lots of new books to go through, new carts to store the books in because I'm running out of room. I keep trying to figure out more ways to fit more books in my library without having to weed out good stuff. That's painful when you have to get rid of things, even though they're really good, but there just isn't room for them anymore. So good week back at school. And then last week was Max's graduation. So I took off almost the whole week. I drove down last Sunday. I rented a car and it was quite nice. It was a Nissan Rogue and I liked it. It had really good gas mileage. And I listened to my audiobook in the car and it was just a nice drive. I actually saw a bald eagle on my way down there. So we live in Buffalo. Max goes to school at Temple, well, graduated from Temple in Philly. So it's about a 7-hour drive for me. My husband did it faster. But he also took a different route. So I was driving through the hills and it's just beautiful. And I'm driving along and I look up and I see this bird sitting on the side of the road. And I was like, wow, that's a really big bird. And then I looked and it had the white head. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's a bald eagle. So I called Phil right away and he's like, what's wrong? Because he figured something happened to me on my drive. I'm like, no, I just saw a bald eagle. It's the coolest thing. So, fine drive, uneventful, which is a good thing other than seeing a bald eagle. Got to Philly and just hung out with Max. And he just sent me a text. Can you send me the pictures of my quilt? Which I will do. Monday we returned my car and then he and his girlfriend and we went shopping because we were getting stuff for like a little reception after graduation. And it was Cinco de Mayo. So we went to this really awesome Mexican restaurant, probably one of the best meals I've ever had. It was just absolutely delicious. Cool little place in Philly. Tuesday, we just kind of hung out. Oh, Max, and we went to the Reading Terminal Market, which is tons of little food restaurants. Like their booths are not huge, but I had a gyro at a little Greek restaurant that was amazing, and baklava. And then Max took me to a stitching store. It's actually needlepoint. Oh my gosh, they have some of the coolest fibers. Like we're missing out. They've got some cool stuff. So that was fun. And then we went to the Betsy Ross house and that was really cool too. So I hadn't been there before. And then he graduated on Wednesday and it was a lovely day. And we had a nice little party after, even though the Uber driver stole his pizza. Max is vegan. So he had ordered some pizzas from this great little vegan pizza place that he likes. He put the order in on Tuesday so that it was all ready to go. And he had timed it so they would be arriving like right at the end of graduation. And so he got a text that said the order had been put in, that it had been picked up, and then he got an order that said, or a text that said it had been canceled. So he called the restaurant and they're like, well, we gave the pizzas to an Uber driver and they never appeared. So the restaurant thankfully was nice enough. They redid the order. And of course, I think they're trying to track down that, rectify with Uber because the guy basically just stole the pizzas. But we had a lovely, lovely visit. Phil and I drove back together on Thursday, which is why I rented the car. He drove down Wednesday. We drove back Thursday. And then it was weird to go to school for one day. That was kind of funny. I have 6 weeks left of school. They are going to fly by. We have big stuff every week. This week, this coming week is the show. They're doing Finding Nemo. Can't wait to see it. I'm going to do some stuff to help out with the set. Because there's a lot of things that my friend, the director, didn't want to do right to the end because the scenery is like pool noodles and tissue paper poofs and stuff to look like under the sea. And she didn't want to have it all 100% done until right before because what she did have done was kind of already getting damaged a little bit just from rehearsal. So it was like, don't care if it doesn't make it all the way through the show, but had to get to the show. So I'm going to go kind of floof some things. So the show's going to be great. And then next week is our Spirit Day. And that's like our field days, always a huge, huge amount of fun. It's the Thursday before Memorial Day. And then I don't have any 8th graders that week. They're on their 8th grade class trip. So then we get back. We have 1 week left of May. That's a short week. And then we have like the special baseball game at the end of the year, the kindergarten graduation, and then we get to finals. It's quick. So summer will be here before I know it, which is great. We've got some fun plans, so it'll go pretty quickly. So, all right. So I'm going to pause for a second because Max just texted me. Can you send me pictures of my quilt? Because he's at work and he wanted to show his work friends. They wanted to see it. So give me 1 second and I'm going to show you those quilt pictures too in just a sec. Alrighty. So sent the pictures to Max. It's cool that he wants to show it off. So that was what I was doing for the most of my spring break. It's crazy. You know, here I am. I read a ton. I read like 3 books over spring break. It was kind of sad. They were good. Haven't been reading. Watched a ton of stuff because I was watching FLOSSTUBES. My husband and I watched a whole bunch of things. Watched a lot of Lori Daybell and Karen Reed. We'll talk about that later. But my biggest priority over spring break was to finish the 3 quilts. So first of all, and I will put it up here. Last time I was lazy and I didn't put the pictures in after I said I would. Sorry about that. But here's the picture. This is the Halloween quilt that I made for my nephew Jake and his wife Jordan. It was supposed to be their wedding present in October. I ran into some problems with the blocks didn't all line up the right way to just sew them together. And then, so I had to fix that problem, which I did just adding some sashing. It worked really well. And I also feel like it separated the blocks from each other a little bit more, so it didn't look quite so busy. There was a lot of pattern in that. So having the black border each one, but then it made quilting it kind of like, what am I going to do? And I was having a massive problem trying to figure out the tension. Figured out that my machine doesn't like Gutermann thread very well. It liked classic or Coats and Clark much better, and the thicker weight. So that worked. So I did it on a diamond quilting because the blocks don't line up. So trying to go just at straight lines, they wouldn't line up at all. So it's like, I'm just going to go with the diamond. I did it with the width of the ruler. So it's kind of a bigger diamond than I usually like. If I did it for the baby quilt or something, that would be much smaller because the blocks were smaller. These are big blocks too. And also because it wasn't square, because it's a rectangle, instead of being like, you know, a diamond that's like square shaped, like little one, it was more elongated. So it looked more like a diamond, really. And it worked out really well. I thought it turned out pretty good. When I asked Phil to hold it up though, his arms weren't long enough to hold the whole thing up. So he grabbed the telescoping pole that we have for disc golf so you can get stuff out of a tree, and he held it up, and so he kind of leaned it over that and held it up. So there is the Halloween monster. So and they got to Wisconsin safely, and they love it, and so I'm so happy that it all turned out. It all worked out great. Excuse me. So then, and I had to get that done before I could get Max's done because that was supposed to be a present in October. So it was like, gotta get it done. That took most of the first week of spring break to get it done. So, and then Max's, I basically worked a little bit every day. So I had everything pieced. So here's Max's purple and black log cabin. And he's holding it in the picture. It came out really nicely. He had picked a lot of the fabrics that were in there, and then I added a few more. It turned out there were some of the purples I was like running out of. I think I'd gotten half a yard or something. I didn't think I need, but I had plenty of other stuff in my stash, including the little purple fabric that had black cats on it because he has a black cat named Theo. So it was funny that was in my Halloween stash and it was perfect. Actually, some of the grays were in my stash as well, and those all worked out really nicely. So I wound up basically stitching in the ditch. I did every rectangle. I didn't plan to start out that way, but I liked it better than just doing like kind of the zigzag of it. And then I did a zigzag though in the border at the end. And so love how that turned out. I also did a reading wrap for his girlfriend, Abby. So here's Abby and her reading wrap. And I used the bookish fabric for that one. I forget who the designer is. I'll put it in the notes. I picked that up from quiltmagic.com, which had a really good deal on it. Free shipping. It was at least $20 cheaper than buying the Fat Quarter Bundle other places. So I will probably go back to quiltmagic.com. Especially now that I don't have a big fabric store to go buying anything in. But this is Abby's, and it's a reading wrap. So it's long and thin. So you can see it's kind of like wrapped around her. You can still have your arms free to like read or study, as she will be doing, because she's getting her master's at Columbia. Wow, right? Smart girl. but that turned out really good too. And the binding on it, I had to go to Hobby Lobby twice to find it, but it was like an orange that went really well. So I am very pleased with how those turned out. I did finish. So I picked up the rental car last Sunday morning, picked it up at like 9, came home and had to finish putting the bindings on. So I sewed the binding to each of the quilts on the front, and I can do it on these ones. I knew I could do it, just wrap it around and use the machine to do the binding on the back. But it was already like noon and I had a 7-hour drive. So I just took them with me, took a little bag with some thread and a thimble. And that's what I did in between. Like Monday morning, Max didn't wake up until later in the day. And so I'm sitting there sewing. And his apartment is great. It has a lot of really awesome natural light. So I'm just sat and sewed. I still have a hole in my finger despite the thimble. The thimble kept falling off. So I've got to find one of those little like silicone things to put over my ring or my middle finger if I'm going to be doing bindings by hand, because there is still definitely a hole in there. And you know how that hurts when that back end of that sharp little, it's not even the point, but the back end of the needle, when it goes into your finger, that is not fun. I did notice, unfortunately, as I was sewing, a lot of tingling in my hand, and I was like, oh, carpal tunnel, here we come. So I think I'm going to start sleeping with a brace on and see if that helps, so it's not bothering me quite so much. And I've got to look up some exercises. Kind of hope to stave that off a little bit longer. So any tricks or tips about carpal tunnel, how to deal with it, would be greatly appreciated, because unfortunately I know there's a lot of us who have to deal with that. So, all right. So that's all my life updates and all the quilting stuff. So let's get to the stitchy stuff. So for this, for 2025, I've been going through, when I show you all my stuff, I've been kind of following my little something sal, because the first week, something old, something new, something festive, something boo. But May, I didn't, over spring break and into May, I haven't really stuck to that because I was doing the quilting so much, and just kind of what I stitched on whenever I could. So this time around, I am going to do just FOs, but this little something sal is really fun. It is a great way to touch, whips, have the freedom to start something new, but be working on things that you want to get done for whatever holiday is even down the road, not necessarily just being seasonal stitching. So I have a Facebook group, so check that out. A couple questions to make sure you're really a person and a stitcher, but come and join us there. So that's really fun. All right. So FFOs, I have 2, and they're both Holy Week stitches. So last time I showed you, He Is Risen, which was my Holy Week stitch from last year from KiraLynn Needlearts. And my original thought, and I even kind of propped it into a gold frame and showed it to you that way. And because that was what I was thinking, because there's gold beads in the piece, and gold for the king, I was kind of thinking that. But the gold kind of washed out the fabric a little bit. So I was thinking, what am I going to do? Maybe there's a white I can do to make it stand out a little bit more. And then I was like, silly goose, you have a white square frame that would work really well. So that's what I did instead. So here is He Is Risen from KiraLynn Needlearts. And now I ran into a little bit of a problem, because the fabric, which I hand dyed myself, I was trying to make it tea-dyed linen with like a mottled effect. And I didn't listen to Chelsea, as everybody should always listen to Chelsea. She said, if you're not careful, it'll scorch. So it is a little scorch there. But for some reason, I did not give myself a lot of leeway on this fabric when I did it. So I wound up having, it didn't cover the opening. You could see the sticky board through the opening. So, and I think somebody else ran into this problem recently. I don't know if it was Holly Jones or Jody from Stitching Ocala. I think it was one of the two. But they were kind of like, it's sticky board. It's still going to stick down. It's not going to fray or anything like that. So there was just a little bit down at the bottom was my big problem that didn't clear the opening that you could see the sticky board. So lace to the rescue. Lace, pom-poms, rickrack, always, they fix everything. So I love this spool of lace that I have, and I trimmed all of the fabric, so it would be even. And then I laid the lace on there to help keep it in place, but also to give it that little, just that nice little extra detail. It really kind of mimics the lace right here. And I'm really very happy with how that turned out. So that was my Holy Stitch last year. And then my second FFO, sorry, I gotta think where to put this. And I'm gonna leave them out for a little bit longer still. Technically Easter's 40 days until Ascension. And I don't have a lot of spring stuff. Sorry, there we go. So I'm gonna leave them out for a little bit longer to enjoy. But this year's Holy Week stitch was from Sweet Wing Studio, as he said. And so I did it on 32 count Heartland. I had a little bit left over from a big piece. Oh, that is a little crooked now that I'm looking at it. Oh, well. And I did my own color conversion, just using whatever classic colorworks I had in my stash. And I had a little white frame that was also kind of distressed. So here is how this one turned out. All right, I'm seeing a reflection of light in my phone that I hope is just the screen and that you're not seeing it too. There, that's better. So as I said, I used my own color conversion, just whatever I had on hand. I left off, there was a row of tulips that were there as well, but I left them off to fit them in the frame, but also because it would have used this purple, and I stole that from another pattern, and I wanted to make sure I had enough to finish the other pattern. So, but I love how this turned out too. And yeah, just kind of tucked it in there. Oh, on the other one with the square, I almost forgot. Because I've used this for another piece, I put a label on the back. I use this for a Primrose Cottage thing at Thanksgiving. Because I knew as just a white square how versatile this is. I'm going to be able to use it for lots of different things. So I'll add the lilies to this label as well, so then I can remember what do I already have like set aside for that one. So those are my two FFOs, and they're sitting out opposite each other on our entertainment center. Love how they turned out. All right, my only FO is coffee, Rise and Shine coffee time. So I am, as you may know, I have a coffee themed classroom and a coffee themed kitchen. So when Priscilla and Chelsea came out with these, I was like, yeah, fine. Like, they're just adorable. So I did it on Vintage Country Mocha, because what better coffee fabric is there? And then, oops, because it was a little bit darker, I think they just did it on tea-dyed, I went with a darker yellow. I used 3852 to make sure that the yellow popped, and I used 905 for the green. Other than that, I used the called for DMC, or their DMC conversion that they had. But I thought that was really cute, and I have some cool finishing options for it. And I'm going to do 2 others in that series as well. Now, I thought I was feeling the starting itch before spring break, and I was like, I'm going to have a Start-a-Palooza. I'm going to start all this stuff, and then I wound up sewing my little fingers off. So I really did not, like, that was a start and a finish over spring break. And a cute little bunny one that I did before spring break, beginning of April. But my only other start was the Stitch Goddess. So when I was feeling startitis coming on, and I was like looking at all these patterns, I was like, silly goose, you have a lot of patterns in your downloaded folder. So I looked through, and that was just awesome and very springy. It's got geese and bunnies and stuff like that on it. So I used a hand-dyed piece of Monaco. I used Evening Blue. And this Monaco came out really good. I tried doing black, which I've done before, and even though I dyed it twice, it came out really gray. So hopefully you can see her. That's how much I have done on her. And very enjoyable to stitch. Haven't used Monaco in a little bit, and I like how nicely everything lays flat. So that was fun. Her dress, the house will pop out because it's all white. This whole thing is white around her dress. And her hair is really cool. So that's been very fun to work on. So maybe that'll, I don't know when I'll bring that back out. Like maybe in a something old. Because now that I've started her, I want to have her on my wall. So she is awesome. So that was a new start. And then I do have a couple other whips. So now that it's summer, or spring into summer, we do a lot of driving to go mountain biking or disc golfing or, you know, trips like I just had coming back from Philly. So I always have a car stitch so that I have something I can work on in the car, and it has to do that, it needs to be Ada, because I can work on Ada in the car and see it. Also, if you're in the car and it's pretty bright, like working on black isn't a problem. So I'm working on right now, Welcome Home Spring is my car stitch. So I did do quite a bit on it the other day. You'd think after 7 hours in the car, you would have more done. It is a little harder to stitch in the car than, you know, because it's moving. But that's how much I have done on Welcome Home Spring. And I'm using all the called for on that one, except I just used 3865 for the white. I'm using Really Tealy for the blue instead of Tropical Paradise. And I didn't have Strawberry Parfait on hand. I somehow left it off the order when I ordered everything. I didn't scroll down far enough, I think. And then, so I'm using Priscilla's Peppermint because I had that on hand. So, and it's kind of cool the way that works in the flowers. So that has been fun to work on, and I will work on that in the car as we're traveling around. I might pick it up 1 or 2 times besides that, because it would be nice to have it done before spring so I can put it out. Then, trying to get back to my little something sal for May. The first week, I didn't stitch at all the first week of May because I was trying to get all of the quilting stuff done. So now I think what I'm going to do is, normally what I do for the little something sal is I'll go from like the 1st of the month to the 7th is week 1. So I go by the date instead of like the calendar, but May is actually pretty long, and the way it fills up the calendar, I'm going to do that for May. So, today I'm going to stitch a little bit more on my, like one more day on my something old, and then something new I will start tomorrow. And I still have 3 weeks left in May. So we're going to do something new, something festive, and something boo. Which I just realized I didn't grab my festive and my boo to show you. So for something old, this was in my bee bag. I have this, I don't have project bags like cool ones. I have like the plastic bags that you buy at the checkout in Joann's. And I got seasonal ones. So I have a little bee one. But this one is almost done now. It was kind of one of those like, why did you put it away without finishing it? Because it's not big. It should be done. So this will take probably just a few, like a little bit more. Tonight, I just have a little bit more in the, I have to do the green and a little bit more white, but most of it is done. So Busy Bee Honey. And it's on Monaco that I hand dyed with apple green Rit, which I have a bunch of the bees in that. I also thought it was pretty cool to use for some Halloween stuff too. And then my other, because I thought, oh, I'll do like bee stuff in May. So the other one is Hive Rules. That was also in my bag. And so here we are so far on Hive Rules. So I've had a lot of this done that I got done in the past couple of days. So, and this one I might like leave. I call it my nest. It's like my stitchy nest where I have all my bags and everything. And tier tray. I have one of those 3-tiered cart thingies, and I like a tray, like a TV dinner, like a tray table. So in my nest, I think I might leave this there and then just like do a strand every day or something until it's done, because I just want to finish. So you want to finish stuff? We want to start stuff. Like, oh, what do we do? So for something new, which I'm going to start on tomorrow, finally going to start Bee-atrice. So now I had tried to dye fabric. I had some Monaco, and I was like, and I've had success in the past dyeing Monaco to make it chalkboard. And it just did not work that well this time. It came out still very gray, even after I dyed it twice. And the thing is about dyeing fabric is that it shrinks it. So it's like, if I try to dye it again, I'm going to wind up not being able to get the needle through the holes. So I did have just some black Monaco that was actually a gift. And so I'm going to use that. And then when I was at that cute little store in Philly, I was like, wait a second. They had Classic Colorworks. And I was like, oh, I have some colors that I need. So these are all of the called fors for Bee-atrice. So some really pretty pinks and blues. That's the Summer Sky. That was the one that I didn't have. And I didn't have the Shrimp Cocktail. And I needed to pick up the Tea and Biscuits because that's the bunny color. So she is going to get started tomorrow. And that will be my something new. And for something festive and something boo, hold on a sec. Okay, so when I started the sale, I wanted the something festive to really be a chance to work on Christmas stuff. Because there's always so many things. I'm sure you're in the same boat. There's so many things that you want to do. Then there's so many new things that come out. I can never finish all the Christmas stuff I want to do. So I was like, I've got to carve out more time for it in the year. So I started Go Tell It on the Mountain, I think at the end of March. Because April I was sewing away. And I'm doing this on 40 count Milk and Honey because I'm going to fit it into a green velvet frame. Hold on, there's a... All right, there's a stray thread. Just, it happens. So that's all I have so far because on the 40 count, I do need to have a pretty bright light. So I can't really stitch on that when I'm sitting next to my husband and blind him. So I'm going to figure out something so I can work on that during the something festive week. I do have all 3 patterns, so I'm going to do all 3 of them. I have 3 green velvet frames, and I'm going to have them done as a set. So I guess can probably work on. I have so much Christmas stuff I want to start. I have a ton of little ornaments that I wanted to do, so maybe that'll be what I work on if I'm sitting while we're watching TV, so I'm not blinding my husband with the OT light because it is pretty bright when you sit right next to somebody. And then for something boo, and absolutely going to finish this Quaker because I want it to be done. It's not like I don't like working on it. It just, it seems to take longer than it should have. Of course, that doesn't help that I like lost floss in the middle of working on it. I couldn't find the Sassy Brass because it was inside of another pattern. So, paper, what did I do? Sorry, my paper disappeared. And you loose threads on this one because I was frogging. I was off. So that's how much I have done on it now. I just need a little bit at the top there. And so this one should be able to be finished. And then this summer, I will do a massive FFO like week or you know, just everything seasonal. Like I don't need to have this done right now to you know, it's not going out until October. And I have Valentine's Day stuff, I have St. Patrick's Day stuff. Gonna do them this summer. Just line them all up. So that'll be a fun floss tube. So that is, I'm gonna finish that. And then I'm going to pick up Stitch Witch. So, because I'm feeling the goddess thing from Tiny Modernist. So there's the Stitch Witch. And she's pretty cool. Love her little black cat. Oh, sorry. I'm sitting down here in my Halloween bag. So this is all I have done on her so far. I got some of her dress done. Now I'm switching. I'm making her green skinned and the vest is gray because Alphaba. So she's going to have green skin instead of gray skin. So I just switched those two things and, you know, switching her hands. I think I'll leave her legs gray because that just looks like stockings. But I wanted to have her be green because that's cool. So I'm going to work on her that last week of May. And I should be back by then. Hopefully at the end of May, I'll be able to show you more finishes. Oh, that's Bee-atrice. Sorry. Trying to get it all squared away over here. All right, so I'm going to square this all away because there's stuff everywhere. And then I'm going to show you my haul. So hold on. Okay, so haul. So it's been a while. So there's a little bit. I did go to a couple stores looking specifically for things. And then, of course, other things just jumped into my basket. Like these cute little bunny buttons from Hobby Lobby. Those are in the regular sewing section. And then these cute little flower buttons were in the spring section. And I thought those would be adorable for finishing. Got some more bobbins because you can never have enough of those. I'm a bobbinator. And they had stickers were on sale. So I picked up some St. Patrick's Day stickers for next year. And some Easter stickers for next year. And so far, like, I use a lot of stickers in my Happy Planner. But when they're on sale, it's like, you know, 50 cents or something. So this was really cute for spring with all the birds and flowers and stuff. I thought they were kind of cool, like just the style. So those will be in my Happy Planner one of these days. Now, one of the reasons I went into Hobby Lobby this time was because Jody, Simply Stitch No Calla, had shown this finishing piece from Hobby Lobby in the unfinished wood pile section with the little, so it stands and you can actually turn this a little bit. And I was like, that is adorable for sideways strippers. Like, it's perfect. There's also a longer version of it that's, I think, about twice the length. And this was only $5.99. And then if you get it when it's on sale, then it's 40% off. So there's a longer version as well, which would be really cute for like those strings, or sometimes you get like the long pieces. But I thought that was super cute. So I'm going to use it for coffee or one of those things. And then, because I did find I had a couple cute things in my stash already that will work for sideways strippers. This, oh, it's on the labels on the bottom. This was on the chalkboard end cap. And I was like, what a cool, like this would be really cool for a sideways stripper or even a tier tray tidbit. So I picked that up too. And this was only $3.29. So that was an awesome little find as well. So that was my Hobby Lobby haul. I was in Michael's one day, probably got just some fabric, but I had a voucher. And so I got this bundle of ribbon. I've got, I have a Halloween one from them from a year or so ago. I've seen them at Christmas. And this is supposed to be, it has like one that has little baby feet. But it's all pinks and whites and cool. Like that looks like shoestring. But there's like pom-poms, and there's actually, this one had like velvet ribbon in it. So kind of cool to be, I think you get a yard of each, and there's 25 pieces. And so I got it for like $5. I think it got it on sale. And then also I had my voucher. So how can you go wrong with that? I did go to Joann one more time. I'm not even sure if the stores are closed yet, but we had two in our area. One was very small, literally like a quarter of the size of the other one. But that one was near my Hobby Lobby. And I was trying to find fabric for the back of Max's quilt, his backing. I already had Abby's because I'd picked that up and it had books on it. So I snatched that like months ago. But I thought I'll go to the smaller one because you never know what they still have left. And they really didn't have any fabric at all left. Certainly nothing that would work. I always like flannel for my backings. But they had thread. So they had the Coats and Clark, and it was all 40% off. No, I think it was like 60% off, 60 or 70. And then there was an extra 30% that day. So I got like every color. So there's like a neutral and a red. Every color that I could, that I figured I would use in, that they had in the, it's the machine quilting. So it's the 30 weight. So there's a nice brown and kind of a burgundy. And some of it was quilting and piecing that was 35. So, and I think I already used, I had orange too. I used that for Abby's. So that was great. And then they had Rick Rack. They still had Rick Rack. My other Joann's, it was all gone. So I got every color of Rick Rack that they had. And these were on sale. I think I got them for like 42 cents each. I even got gold and silver. But there's every color in the rainbow in here, in different sizes even. So it was quite a steal. That was like a really good steal. That had to go in a bag because it'd be all over. Impulse buy. I'm a teacher. Light up necklaces. Like, yes, please. Those were also like 40 cents. The most expensive thing I got that day was this, and it was $8 on sale. So this is the cookie cutter ornaments from It's So Emma Fat Quarter Shop. That's normally like $13, and I got it for like $8. And it has, I think it has 12. I think there's all 12 of them in there, in the little cookie cutters. So those were really cute. Maybe that's something I'll do for festive week. But that was like, I felt really good after that shopping trip. I did pick up one or two things. Oh, wait. Oh, it's over here. When I went to that cute little store in Philly, I did get the Tiny Modernist Night Garden, because this was one of my favorite ones out of that whole Night Garden set. They didn't have the floss pack, unfortunately. And I started trying to like choose my own and make my own color conversion, because they had like a whole wall of classic colorworks. They had weeks. They had a couple things, but they couldn't really get a purple and a green to match. I'm like, I'll just get them later. But I did also get a black coffee, because I'm always out of black coffee. Like, who's not? And the ones that I needed for Bee-atrice. I did order, I picked this up right off of her website, Erin Elizabeth's new sewing tomato. I think she has matured as a designer so much. Like, all of her stuff is great. That bird that she came out with at Market is stunning. And I can't wait to see what other birds she does. But when I saw this, I was like, oh, yes, please. Just awesome. Really, really cool. The pattern is, I'm probably going to use it right off my iPad, because she's got it spread across a couple of pages. And it's easier to see that on my iPad than print out like 40 million. She did them all in, it's all in DMC. So that'll be nice. And she did it on Vintage Country Mocha, but she did 32 count. So I don't know if I'm going to do it on 28 or see if I can get a piece of 32 something, or if I have 32 something, not sure. And then, since it is Mother's Day, if I get this out and you're still watching on Mother's Day, today is one of the only days of the year that Priscilla and Chelsea have a sale on their website. And everything's 20% off. So I got Oh My Stars, which is their new roundabout. I got Strawberry Fields Forever, which is the new sideways stripper. And I love those little crocheted strawberries. Like, I need more strawberry stuff. It's okay. And then they also had the cute little Tea for Two from last month's series. And Tea Party, which has the bonus, which is 2 little chickens and a teacup. It's very cute. So I picked those up today. So that sale is only Mother's Day. So, all right. So that was all my haul. I think that's everything. We've reached the part where I talk about what I've been reading, but I really didn't read very much in the past couple of weeks. I've been watching a lot of stuff instead. So, FLOSSTUBE. This is my list of FLOSSTUBers that I've been watching. So, I just figured I'd share you can see how similar we are because who we all watch together. Always watch Stitching with the Housewives. Priscilla and Chelsea are my favorites. And I kind of made this list going back through my history. Floss, Paper, Scissor. Julie and Catherine are hilarious. Annabella's. Erin Elizabeth had a new one out. New England Stitcher. And she had Sarah on with her. They're very fun to watch. Teacher pride, right? Floss, Boss and Cousins. Two Needles Pulling Thread. Helen D. Simply Stitch and Ocala. Kindred Stitcher. Mrs. Jones is that's Holly. Brenda and the Cereal Starter. Stitching Owl. Once Upon a Stitch. Camping Stitcher. Sweetwater Stitcher. Jessica. I never miss hers. Stable Stitchers. I never miss them either. Colorado Stitcher. The Proper Stitcher. Lindy Stitches. Hobbies of Holly. I love her voice. She's so calming. Fat Quarter Shop. Hands on Design. Finally a Farm Girl. She did a cool tour of her kitchen. Saltbox Stitcher and Stitch Etc. And they did a store tour, which was kind of cool to see too. So that's what I've watched in the past. I'm sure there may even be more, but I looked back at my history. And of course, my history was also filled with the Karen Reed stuff because I am like obsessed with that now. So at the beginning of my spring break, Lori Daybell was still on trial. Those are the two big things I watched. Lori Daybell was on trial in Utah, I think it's Utah, for the death of her fourth husband. When she represented herself. Not maybe the best idea ever that she's had. She's a piece of work, man. What a piece of work. Yeah. But she's never going to have a free day the rest of her life, and that's as it should be. And then I started watching Karen Reed, and I knew a little bit about it from Priscilla. She was watching the first trial, of course, where there's some crazy stuff. It's like, you know, a search done on a phone at 2 a.m. for how long does it take to die of hypothermia when you haven't gotten the phone call that the guy was missing until 5. When a law enforcement agency comes to your house and tells you it's illegal to lie to them and you forget to tell them how many people you talk to in 10 minutes. And I'm not exactly sure how you get 2 black eyes and dog bites on your arm when you got hit by a car. So it's been interesting. It's very interesting. Oh, and here's the funny thing. So her, Karen Reed's lead defense attorney, Andrew Johnson, when they show the videos, usually you just see the witness sitting on the stand and you can just hear his voice. He sounds just like Andrew Walker from Hallmark. So whenever I'm watching, it's like, that's the face that I'm picturing is like Andrew Walker. It's like, oh yeah, it's not him. It's this other dude, but he sounds just like him. All right. So stuff that we've watched. We watched a little bit of Mobland, which was good, pretty violent. And Helen Mirren is a badass, but she's also not her character's not she's a bad lady. We watched all of The Residents, which was a new Netflix show about a murder in the White House. Awesome. Really good. We enjoyed that one quite a bit. I have to catch up one more episode. The Chicken Sisters on Hallmark, which is a series. And it has Wendy Malick and Leah Thompson is in it. And it's funny to hear them with Southern accents and stuff, but it's a cute little show. Kiki's Fourth Ingredient, which is one of the Love at the Table series. Oh, and that's funny because Mindy Kahn plays the main character's foster moms. That's the premise, is that there's these 4 people who are foster kids together, and it's all of their stories, how they're finding love. But Mindy Kahn was their foster mom. And so, I loved her when she was on Facts of Life, but she's Thelma on Scooby-Doo for so many Scooby-Doo movies that I watched with my children. So it's yes, Thelma, where's your glasses? But I liked the 4th. I want to try to catch the other ones. Reluctant Royal, starring Andrew Walker. And The Curious Caterer, also starring Andrew Walker. I watched The Foiled Plans, which is the medieval dinner gone wrong. Somebody died. And I like those because I read the original books. They've obviously not following, because the books were in the 90s. So cell phones and forensic science and, there's a lot of stuff. But I always liked Goldie. We also watched a movie called The Electric State, which was a Netflix movie. But it has a huge cast. I mean, Millie Bobby Brown was in it. Chris Pratt was in it. And a couple of like, really, because there's a bunch of robots in it. Like, that's the thing, is there's robots versus humans. Like, Woody Harrelson voiced one of the robots. So a lot of good people in that one too. And then as far as reading goes, I did read The Spell Shop. I showed you that the last time. I don't think I have a picture of it with me, but that was super good. Really liked The Spell Shop. Just a great, lovely story. Just a good fantasy story. And that author has another one coming out that was like The Enchanted Greenhouse, that, in the same world, different, there's like a related story to The Spell Shop, but new people. So I'm looking forward to when that comes out. I also read Murder at a Mystery Castle, which was the first in a series. A young woman goes back to her Kitty McRae. Her grandmother works at this castle. It is a castle, but it's also got like a hotel portion to it, and they have a murder mystery dinner, and of course somebody actually dies at it. And then The Lost Bookshop. I think I told you I'd started reading that. Really good. Really, really good. Highly recommend that one, and I will go check out more of Evie Wood stuff. So The Lost Bookshop, it's a bookshop that's lost. Like, somebody's seeking it and they can't find it until they're ready to find it, kind of thing. But there's some jumping between 2 or 3 different timelines of telling the stories, and a couple of really cool little surprises in it. I really liked it. And then this is one that I listened to in the car. I got the Audible like trial and got this one. I really liked the narrator. I like Vicky Delaney stuff quite a bit, but she's kind of expensive even on Kindle. Like, she's $12 a book, and I try not to spend that much on a Kindle book. I have Kindle Unlimited, but this was like a free credit from Audible. So I was like, perfect, because I really like her stuff. So it's set in Rudolph, New York, which is supposed to be somewhere around here, because they talk about Lake Ontario. And Rudolph, New York is not a real place, but they're the year-round Christmas town. And so she runs a Christmas shop, and her name is Mary. And her mom was an opera star. Her dad always plays Santa. And there's always some mystery that happens. So this one actually was taking place right before Easter. So that was fun. And then I started this one on my Kindle, Daughters of Sea and Storm. So good witchy story. Just got into that one. Just started it. So not very far in. But it's the Vesper Coven. And there have to always be 3 Vesper witches in this town. And when the main character's grandmother goes missing, she and her mother have to go like fill the role. So that looks good. And then I also started Sunrise on the Reaping, which is the newest in the Hunger Games saga. This is Haymitch's story. So this is the second quarter quell. He was the winner of the 50th Hunger Games. And so this is Haymitch's story and told from his point of view, obviously. I mean, I know already what happened to Haymitch, but it'll be interesting to see the whole story. So that is it. It's a lot. Thanks for sticking with me through everything. But I hope that you are enjoying the beautiful weather, having a wonderful day, having some relaxing stitching time. I hope to see you in 2 weeks. It'll be the end of May, right before the all-out craziness of the end of the school year ensues. And I hope I have a lot of good stuff to show you next time. So thanks again for spending time with me. I know there's a lot of stitchers out there that you can watch, and I appreciate that you want to see what I'm up to. That means a lot to me. In the comments, as I mentioned earlier, if you've got any tricks about carpal tunnel and how to deal with that, let me know, because it's starting to be annoying. And I'm hoping to stave it off so it's not annoying. So let me know any comments about that, and I'll see you in 2 weeks. Thanks, everybody. Happy stitching.